Cooking School. Knowledge about cooking and techniques.
Technique is one of the most widely used techniques. It efficiently and rhythmically cuts through the food better than any other technique. It is not an up and down motion like this, where the whole knife leaves the board. Nor is it like this, where only the heel of the knife moves. With the rolling technique, the blade of the knife rolls through the food, allowing the sharpness of the blade to do the work for you. The tip of the knife is dragged back towards the food as the heel is lifted. Then push forward again. Using this lid to demonstrate, you'll notice how you naturally make a backward circular motion. To always keep the knife in contact with the cutting board, the wrist bends slightly so the knife automatically lifts up as you pull back. Apply a slight downward pressure as you roll the knife forward. At no point does the blade ever leave the cutting board. For this reason, you'll also need to ensure that you have the right size cutting board. Too small of a board, and you will not be able to do the rolling technique efficiently or comfortably, as the knife will fall off the board. For now, don't worry about cutting food with a knife. Just practice to ensure the blade remains in contact with the cutting board. Focus on this backward circular motion until it feels comfortable. Once you understand the mechanics of the rolling technique, the next key point is to focus on the hand that holds the food, which is called the guide hand. The guide hand is positioned with the knuckles bent to protect the fingertips. The most important thing to learn is that your fingertips should always be tucked under, like this. This is the wrong way to hold your food because your fingertips are fully exposed to the blade of the knife. For precise cuts, the blade of the knife should always be in contact with the bottom knuckle of your middle finger, like this. By doing this, your knife is guided safely and accurately because you maintain contact between the knife and your knuckle at all times. When finely cutting ingredients, keep the fingers together, not spread apart. Notice that your thumb and little finger are the two that hold and anchor the food to the cutting board. The three center fingers extend forward with the middle knuckle being your primary guiding point. You will find as you cut that your three guide fingers naturally slide backwards from the slight pressure of the knife against your middle knuckle. When they reach your thumb and little finger, stop cutting and reposition your hand by sliding your thumb and little finger back, like this. Then continue cutting. Think of this motion as a backwards crawling crab. This is how it looks when combined with the rolling technique. Practicing this at first with a knife is naturally intimidating for most home cooks, so we recommend first practicing with a bench scraper. An excellent way to get comfortable with the rolling technique is to practice using a bench scraper. Here you can build the confidence necessary to develop rhythm without any risk to your fingers. Practice like this until you feel the rhythm of the roll, making sure the scraper stays in contact with the surface of the board. Once you feel comfortable with the rolling technique, change your focus to your guide hand. Your middle knuckle should always stay in contact with the scraper, making sure your fingertips are tucked underneath. Now spread a thin layer of flour on your cutting board and practice like this. Notice the cuts you are making through the flour. They should be straight and evenly spaced. Controlling the cutting action with your guide hand is the key to making very fine, even cuts. When you feel comfortable, shift your focus away from the mechanics of the technique and just focus on the feeling and the rhythm of the action. By simply practicing this for 10 to 15 minutes, you'll be on your way to building confidence in the kitchen. Once you are ready to practice with your knife, celery is a good vegetable to start with, as it's soft, inexpensive, and you'll have lots of length to work with. This is the sweet spot of the blade, where you'll do all of the cutting when using the rolling technique. When using the correct part of the knife, you'll see that the food sticks to the blade in the sweet spot. To begin, position your guide hand. Place the knife against your middle knuckle with your fingertips fully tucked under. Do the following exercises in slow, concentrated motions. First, focus on sliding through the food in a forward rolling motion, not up and down. Now focus on the feeling of the blade against your middle finger's lower knuckle. Next, make sure you're pinching the food between your thumb and little finger while anchoring it to the board. Then slide your 3 middle fingers back as you cut. When they reach your thumb and little finger, stop and reposition your guide hand, then resume cutting. Throughout these exercises, your eyes should be focused on what happens between the knife and your guide hand, and not what is happening with the cuts on the other side of the blade. This will force you to focus on the rhythm and the safety of your guide hand. Remember, it's not about speed, it's about consistency and safety, and never exposing your fingertips. With regular practice, this will one day become so natural you won't even think about it.